Good Saturday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. So we look at our main impact map for today. We see no significant impacts. We do have some things to be concerned about, possibly thunderstorms returning early next week across parts of eastern Utah, but in the interim, a little cooler, but staying dry across most areas. Looking at the conditions over the past 24 hours, precipitation on the left-hand side. Some light to moderate rainfall amounts across the eastern half of Utah and some scattered amounts across Wyoming. And you can see on the right-hand side another day of lightning, moderate to heavy lightning across the eastern half of Utah. Most of it wet but drier on the western edges, and a mix of wet and dry strikes from southeast Idaho up into the Bridger Teton and up into the Teton Park area into western Wyoming. Looking at new fire starts in the red, existing fires in the yellow circles, larger fires outlined. Looks like things are picking up activity-wise over the past couple of days with the lightning. We expect this pattern to continue with possible holdovers. And precipitation over the past 7 days. On the left, you can see quite dry across Nevada. It's only the southeastern quadrant of Utah that had some significant wetting rains in some areas. Some areas did not, and just scattered light precipitation areas further north into western Wyoming and Idaho. And the past 14 days also quite dry across Nevada, and again, those wetter areas over southeast Idaho. So seeing that response in our fuels, our ERCs, you can see lots of red and dark red on the map across the northern two-thirds of the area. Those are fuels that are anywhere between the 80th to the 96th percentile, and even a few purples near record levels above the 97th percentile in parts of Nevada and up into Idaho. With a drier weather pattern coming in, we're expecting these fuels to continue to dry out. And looking at just at some heavier 1,000-hour fuels and some of the differences, you can see on the right-hand side up into the mountains of central Idaho, after taking a nosedive with rain about 2 weeks ago, they've went up well higher than normal or drier than normal on the ERC, approaching record levels. Similar story across parts of far southwest Utah. But in southeastern Utah, where they've had the rain recently, you see their ERCs have dropped off quite a bit, so we do not expect to see any large fire activity there anytime soon. Looking at the satellite imagery, we see that high pressure has flattened out across the southern area of the country, so that's going to prevent any more northward transport of the monsoon. You see the clouds kind of dissipate, so we should be drying out for a while. Further north, the tightening height lines through here indicate still some moderate westerly winds across parts of Idaho into western Wyoming. Otherwise, no significant weather issues. Looking at our significant fire potential for today, you can see dry in most areas. You can see where we've moistened up across eastern and southeastern portions of Utah. And if we go to the weather factors for this afternoon, you can see that on the left, humidity quite dry across Nevada, mostly in the single digits, mid-teens up in Idaho and into Wyoming, and similarly across Utah as well. On the right-hand side, winds not overly strong. All those purple shades, those are basically 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds, maybe some gusts or some winds in the 20s across parts of Idaho from the northwest to northerly direction. But again, nothing as strong as the winds of the past few days. On Sunday, on the left-hand side, you see drier air given by these tannish colors moving on in. The monsoon air mass is in that darker green shade, which is down into Mexico and parts of Arizona. On the right-hand side are our significant fire potential colors, still relatively unchanged. And unchanged also are our weather factors. Single-digit humidity in Nevada, low teens across Utah and into Idaho, and again, wind field overall fairly light. So in a lot of areas, it's the canyon winds that are going to dominate the wind regime. On Monday, no big change. Still drier air mass coming in, kind of a flat high pressure ridge developing. We are seeing some of this monsoon moisture, at least bits and pieces of it, starting to approach our southeastern areas, starting to dry out just a little bit in those southeastern areas as well. And then no big changes on the humidity or the wind front as well, fairly light. Precipitation overall, just a little scattering across our eastern areas, barely a tenth of an inch, and some isolated thunderstorm activity. Otherwise, most of the heavier precipitation stays to our south and east. Now going further down the road as we go into Tuesday, you can see that there is some moisture given by this dark shade through here. It's borderline moisture for isolated thunderstorm activity, but it's across some of our eastern and southern areas. We'll be watching how some of this deeper moisture starts playing on in. Dryness level still fairly constant. And as we go into Wednesday and into Thursday, we start seeing some of that moisture starting to intrude. By Friday, we do notice that some of that darker shade has moved into the western portions of our area that have not seen precipitation in a long time. So that could mean that isolated thunderstorms could start approaching into southern Nevada towards Friday and maybe into next weekend, but still quite a ways away. We'll be monitoring that day by day as we go through next week. Precipitation overall, other than this little scattering in Utah, which could occur maybe Monday or Tuesday with some isolated thunder, the rest of our area stays dry. You can see where the deeper monsoonal moisture is well to our south. And on the extended 2-week outlook, above normal temperatures, especially for our western areas. A bit stronger monsoonal push indicated as we go. This is basically July 3rd into August 5th, so this could mean increased lightning, maybe increased rains for our southern areas, but maybe increased fire risk on the northern edge of that precipitation shield. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.